Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, in a previous video, I did say I was going to be taking a little bit of a break, but I just wanted to jump in and cover this really quick because I feel like it's kind of important, or an important PSA to put out to people who have bought a new 50 series card. So, to go over the issue, this is coming from Igorslab, which I particularly like Igorslab. I think he does pretty good work. He's had some questionable history in the past where he's gotten things wrong and right, but in my opinion, I think he's a pretty good person who troubleshoots and goes through a lot of efforts to put out decent work. So that being said, let's just run down with what's going on here. So essentially, Igor tested all of these cards, which, by the way, I will link his video down below. Currently, it's not in English. I believe he speaks German. And yeah, so I'll link that down below. Basically, what's going on here, if you look at the 5080, the 5070, and this is a torture loop, but if we look at this image here, we're seeing some pretty insane temperatures here. Now, this is not to be confused with the HOTSPOT reader that was on the die itself, or the core that they removed, because I don't know if you guys know this, but NVIDIA actually removed one of the hotspot readers on the 50 series, which when I first saw this pop up, I was like, oh, no way, we're having problems because they removed the 50 series hotspot die. But so far, he's only tested the reference board design cards. And when I say reference, I don't mean just the Founders Edition, which is technically a custom card. Reference is the NVIDIA spec. So as you see here, the 5070 and the 5080 have a very similar looking design board. This is the NVIDIA reference design right here. So he's referring to this one in particular. And as you can see here down this line, which is where the hotspot tends to be the worst right here, 80C. If we jump over to the 5070, you're seeing 107.3 Celsius hotspot on the 5070. So that's a pretty concerning temperature. So the reason why I bring this up, obviously it's like if you have one of these cards, what are you going to do? You can't really... I mean, I guess you can mod it and do some, like, I don't know, back a couple years ago when the RTX 3090 was out and they had all those memory modules on the back. A lot of people were doing mods on the back. Even EK launched a backside water block, so you had front and back water blocks. That being said, what's going on here is pretty concerning. I mean, it's not the core itself, you know, the core is not cooking, but these VRMs over here, as time goes on, this will weaken the board. The board will heat up and little components can fall off, crack, anything like that. That being said, the main point of this whole thing is a lot of people bought from scalpers or bought secondhand when somebody ran out to Micro Center or ran out to stores to buy these and then flip them for $100 extra, 200, 300, sometimes thousands of dollars extra. Get the receipts from those people you bought those from, because in the future, if you do run into a problem, you really want to have the receipt, because if this is actually an issue, which who knows, it may or may not be as big of an issue. Obviously, we can't tell. Igorslab is just one outlet. I'm sure there's going to be more people. People like Debar probably jump on this, maybe even like GN, if it seems to be a real issue. So as you can tell by this graph here, he's just showing you that the power from the VRMs are going and running through, hitting the local hotspot, and then that goes to the GPU and memory. This is all, again, on the PCB. So this is the PCB layers are heating up around the components like the VRM. And so it's not the actual GPU itself. I know some people will be confused by that, especially seeing NVIDIA did remove the GPU hotspot temperature reader on the GPU core itself. But again, this is just the PCB. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it here. As you can see, all of these comments are in... I didn't realize that it says it right here, but if you do drop down, Deutsch, which is German. So he does speak German, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I will link his German video down below. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this? I think, you know, we see a torture loop here, and it looks like the temperature is dropping a little bit. I don't know what that actually means. Looking through and reading through this, it seems like he is also in a state where he's pretty much just getting a small batch of these reference design cards to use as examples. It says here PNY, MSI, and yeah, it says largely adhere to the design specified by NVIDIA. So that's the reference design. Again, not something to get overly worked up about, but definitely something to consider. Make sure if you have one of these cards that you go and you check out you make sure you go and you register your warranty. Like for an example, Zotac has a warranty that's extended if you go and register it. I think MSI does the same thing. Probably Asus. They probably all have a very similar way of registering your card. If you bought a secondhand card or you bought it from a scalper, even brand new, if any of that information on the receipt is tied to somebody else, you want to make sure you have as much of that as possible. Anyway, that's going to do it. Back to my little break, and I will be coming out with a bunch of videos soon after. I just got a bunch of stuff lined up, and I needed to take a break from YouTube. Yeah, we'll see you guys in another video.